bringing truth to light night. Turn up the sound, let the people unite. From the heart of PF, we speaking it clear. Real talk, real change in your face, we are in your face. We say it bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire in your face, right here. In your face, 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 in your face. We talking life, we talking change, we talk solutions. From the street to leaders, sparking revolution. No filter, no fear, just real conversation. Building up the proof, uplift the nation. Ideas flow like the ocean tide. Different views, but we stand with pride. From young to old, everybody got a say. Tune in, lean in, hear what we convey. Say your face, in your face. We say it bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire in your face, right in your face, 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 in your face. Yeah. It's in your face, feel the energy rise. Open up your mind, let's visualize. Better days coming, we paving the way. Join the movement every Saturday. It's in your face, yeah, we keep it true. From the heart of the island straight to you. No hiding, no running from the issues we face. We confront it head on, right in your face. Solutions build when we risen as one. Unity strong like the morning sun. Yes, up, talk it out, make a plan. Together we rise, that's the mission we stand. In your face, we say it bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire on in your face, right there. In your face, 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 yeah. In your face, we got the help, it's your word, all conversation, identity voices, real solutions, don't miss it, every rise Saturday. In your face, in your face. What may not like you, in your face, in your face, in your face, in your face, in your face. Island vibes, we bringing truth to light night. Turn up the sound, let the people unite. From the heart of PF, we speaking it clear. Real talk, real change in your face, we are in your face. We say it bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire in your face, right here. In your face, 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 in your face. Yeah. We talking life, we talking change, we talk solutions. From the street to leaders, sparking revolution. No filter, no fear, just real conversation. Building up the proof, uplift the nation. Ideas flow like the ocean tide. Different views, but we stand with pride. From young to old, everybody got a say. Tune in, lean in, hear what we convey. Say your face, in your face. We say it bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire in your face, right there. In your face, 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 yeah. It's in your face.
Hey, night, guys. Solo, you there? Good night, everybody.
Good night, sir. Good night, Brother Vanya.
Good night.
Yeah, you can hear me? Good night, good
I
night.
can hear you clear. Loud and clear.
And
So
good evening.
I guess you don't have to mute me.
No. Everything is good. New laptop, new everything. Everything is good to go.
No, just making sure, that we don't have no glitches.
Yeah.
No glitches, whether deliberate or what, Just making sure.
Deliberate.
I just have a way with words, Vanya. Typical me.
But
We
Mark,
like
how you
it.
doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good, Vanya. Thanks for having me, as well as hello to Cello. Hello to
Are
Cello.
we live again?
Yeah, we live on the air. Let's go.
Boy, you got us on prating with this kind of gibberish. Run the low.
face. In your face. What men not like you. In your face, in your face, in your face, in your face. Island vibes, we bring it through to light night. Turn up the sound, let the people unite. From the heart of the we speaking it clear. Real talk, real change in your face, we in your face. We say bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world.
Well, let me say pleasant good evening to all, wherever you are, those of you who are watching us via our Facebook page. It's another Saturday in the city, and it's time for your favorite program once again as we discuss the pertinent issues, as I often say, the ones that are affecting us as a people and as a nation. And of course, on this program, we bring about solutions. It's not about rancor. It's not about chatty. It's not about any political alliance or anything as such. It's all about discussing the issues that are affecting us for a better Anguilla. And as I often stress, we all want Anguilla to be a nation proud, strong, and free. We love this country, don't we? So the In Your Face program is a program where we discuss all the issues, whether it's current affairs, whether it's worldwide, whatever issues are out there, we discuss it here on In Your Face. Well, tonight we are proud to have with us our panelists, for better wording. Let me say a pleasant good evening, first of all, to my other hosts who are here with us as well. Mr. Harold Owan, good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Cello. Good evening, Brother Vanya. And likewise, Mr. Mark Romney. And I guess that's Baker Jr.
Yes.
On my left. Welcome to our program. And I say welcome to all viewers. I hope that you all enjoy the program and the information that we disseminate this evening. I guess that thereafter we all will be in a better position to know the facts of what exists. In particular, when it comes to Carnival, which deal with emancipation, culture, and other aspects of our heritage. So welcome to all.
Thank you, dear Mr. Ruwan, for that very interesting, very interesting, I must admit. But as usual, very well said. Mr. Harrigan, pleasant good evening to you.
Yeah, good evening, sir. Just making sure everything is up and well going. It's good to be back here another night for another weekend to spend with you guys and talk about important issues, and especially tonight is our culture. We'll be discussing more about culture. So I want to welcome our guests and welcome to all who join us tonight.
Thank you, dear Vanya, for that knighthood that you just bestowed on me. I think I heard you say, sir. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that knighthood. Wow.
You deserve it, sir.
Well, yes, thank you. Take a bow. Thank you for that knighthood there. And now let me reach out and say a warm welcome, a warm welcome. I want to say thanks to Mr. Mark Romney. Thank you so much, my buddy, for accepting the invitation to be here with us on this program tonight. I think that you are the chairman of the Calypso subcommittee. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. And good evening to the panelists, and in particular, good evening to all the viewers who are taking it on via the Facebook stream, as well as to those of you, of course, on the, if I should say, the traditional means by way of Radio 97.7.
Thank you, dear Mr. Mark Romney. And Vanya, is Baker Jr. on?
Yes, he's on there. He's in the school lights back there.
He's still in father mood. What a guy. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, Baker, His Majesty, Baker Jr. Good evening to you. Welcome.
Top of the evening. Hello, Vanya, Mark Romney. Can't recall the guy name there. Top of the evening to you. And Anguilla, blessed evening to you. And may peace be reigned forever. This is the place where we talk in your face, where we call a spade. Tonight we're going to do that.
Thank you. I like your disco lights there. We're going to party harder with every muscle in my body. I like that. Well, with that said, I again want to take the opportunity here to say thanks again to all panelists who are with us here this evening. Thanks for giving of your time to be here with us as we discuss the pertinent issues. Little later on the program, may I add, we will be having Mr. Lennox Vanterpool, an aspiring politician, if I might add, an educator. He wears so much hats that, but he will be joining us a little later. And a little later on the program, too, we will be discussing the current affairs of the nation. And I just want you all to know that current affairs, when we discuss that, that's a part of the program. We would never have this program unless we delve into the current affairs that are affecting us as a nation. Before I proceed and get into our conversation, so to speak, let me say here, advance birthday greetings to Mr. Mark Romney, and also advance Father's Day as well.
Oh, you bust me. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sello.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's indeed a double celebration for me personally tomorrow. Yes, Father's Day. And also we'll be celebrating my birthday tomorrow. So it's a double whammy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
A double whammy indeed.
Sure.
Let me ask you though, Mark, how do you feel at this time? I mean, we all are climbing that ladder, but how do you feel?
Still looking young.
I'm feeling great, to be honest.
Still looking good.
Yeah, still feeling, I don't know if at the stretch of midnight, if something else may happen, but
You never know, man.
as it stands right now, I'm feeling really good. Yeah.
I know that you're not the Methuselah ages yet, but we all are climbing that ladder, and I know Mr. Rowan will agree with me with that. It's always up, up. You can't stop it once you climb it. But I must say though, Mark, we give praise and thanks to the Almighty. We still looking. All of us can say that we are still looking quite healthy, and we got to give praise and thanks. So let's see. All of us advanced fathers. I think all of us, right?
Yeah, we all. Baker's a father as well, right, Baker?
Indeed. Oh, yes.
Definitely.
Okay. So I don't think none of us here are barren, right?
Yes, we are. Yes, I am. I'm married. Those who are married are blessed men. Those who are not, will be unto thee.
All right, Baker, take a free shot.
Okay, Baker. I won't comment, Baker. I won't comment.
Well, at least we can produce. And we have. So Father's Day will apply to all of us on the program here this evening. But indeed, it's another Saturday when we sit. And again, I want to say thanks so much to you all. Now, this evening, we're going to be looking at what's been going on as we plan for the Up Summer Festival 2026, which is almost taking on a theme. From my perspective, 26 looks like a Jimmy Fix. I hate to have to say it that way, but I'm blatant, and I'm gonna say it as it is. We don't know what's going on. Now, usually we know that prior to the commencement of the summer festival, we always have the little bacchanal, weeding out of little things and so forth. Now, Mr. Romney, I've been hearing, and this is alleged, you're going to bring some clarification to this. Mr. Vanya, you also been a former chairperson of our summer festival. Baker Jr., a Calypsonian, born to perform. And Mr. Mark Romney, who's been around Carnival for a lot of years, since I know myself. He's always been part of the culture. So with that said, what's going on, Mark? What's happening because as I said, we heard a lot of rumors. We heard that Calypsonians would be censored, can't sing about this and can't sing about that.
Not true, Cello. I have to shoot that one
wait, I'm finished yet. I am not finished. I'm just putting them across. We know that Calypsonians are usually viewed as the
I have
mouth.
to take that one down right away, but go ahead. That's not true.
Calypsonians are also viewed as the mouthpiece of the people. And never before in my lifetime did I ever heard that Calypsonians were censored. So I had always dismissed that as not being true.
It is
okay?
Not true. It is not
right,
true.
Good. Well, thanks for the confirmation there on that. And I was also made to understand, and this is the point that some of the Calypsonians are, well, I'm trying to find a word to describe it really, because it's a sour taste in the mouths of most of them. The date was changed from the usual Wednesday to the Thursday. Now, I was made to understand that there was no discussion or consultation with Calypsonians as it relates to the change. It was more or less, let me use a word, it was like dictated to them, whether they like it or not. This is it, and so forth going forward. Mark, tell me and our viewing audience here and listening audience, wherever, is any of the things that I said true or false?
Well, I don't necessarily share the same view, if I should say that way, as it relates to being a dictate. What has really happened is that over the years, you would have found that the Anguilla Summer Festival, in terms of its calendar of events, you had quite a few nights that were empty. When I say empty, in the sense that there were no events staged at the Carnival Village, if I should say that way, or what we now know as the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center. And as a result of that, you had a number of stakeholders, as well as visitors, as well as our local populace, who expressed at various points, if I should say, a level of dissatisfaction as it relates to having all these blank nights. In particular, if I may even go a step further, the booth owners who make quite sizable investments during that period, apart from having to pay for the rental of booth spaces, they themselves make that heavy investment, and then Carnival Village opens, say, Thursday night, and then the next event, no Friday night, and then Saturday night something, then Sunday, then Monday night, nothing. So you had quite a few gaps. The idea was to, as much as possible, to compact everything into one solid week of activities. So that's where the whole idea came about, or rather in response, if I should say it that way, to addressing that particular concern from many. And I say many in the sense of the various key stakeholders, whether that be booth owners, be that visitors, be that even our locals. So we wanted to make the festival, if I should say, as tight or as compact as possible. Hence the need to ensure that there was an activity every single night, with the exception, if I should say it that way, because that over the years has taken on a complete identity of its own. When I say that, I'm referring to the Caribbean Beach Party, because that is such an event now on August Monday. So that's the only night, literally, that is not, so to speak, an event is staged at the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center. Bearing in mind, Summer Festival, Anguilla carries a very unique blend, if I should say it that way, in terms of it's an all-day, all-night type of party. You go literally during the day from our boat racing or a national sport and back to the village. And by the way, Cello, for those of us who may not know, because I was shocked to hear some folks say they didn't know that, but back then, and I say back then, back to the 70s and 80s, the village, it was August Thursday, you're down at Meads Bay, back to the village on the August Thursday night for, at that time, used to be the Queen Show, for example. And, so it was constant action. It was, or if I should say, NSA, non-stop action, literally, right through the carnival period in terms of the summer festival.
If I could make a
All right.
comment, so
Sarah Banya, let me just butt in here quickly, then I'll let you take over from there.
no, I don't want to change topic. Just want to make a comment on what you
Yeah.
said.
Did you guys sat with the Calypsonians prior to making the change?
Well, this is what happened. A meeting was called for Calypsonians back in February, because when I became aware, when I say became aware, in terms of what the carnival program had looked like, I wanted to gauge and, so to speak, garner the feedback from the Calypsonians. Unfortunately, that
Hey, Mark, Mark, just a minute. If I would interrupt you, that meeting on the February, about how many Calypsonians showed up for the meeting?
3.
Thank you.
So you're saying that the schedule was made before you had known
Well,
and
what had
bring it to the table?
Yeah, there was a, so to speak, draft schedule.
Right.
And in that draft schedule, what I can say is that the Calypso show initially, and I say initially, was carded for the Friday 30th or 31st July, as opposed to where it is now, and more so from the original date of the August Wednesday, if I should say that way. I saw some challenges with that, and as such, we were trying to have the case for it to be, so to speak, returned to the original night. However, owing to other factors, as I said earlier, because there were other changes within various nights, various events, and as a consequence, those nights shifted, and we ended up where the Calypso show, even though the major concern that I had at that point in terms of looking at it would have been the fact that whoever it is crowned on the night, that person having to go forward to represent Anguilla in the Leeward Islands Calypso competition. Hence, there would have been a tight schedule in terms of getting their rehearsals in. However, the feeling was that there was still, so to speak, sufficient window for that to happen. And so when everything was all said and done, bear in mind, this was a committee decision. It wasn't an individual decision. It wasn't a Mark Romney decision. We may just put that out there very clearly.
The Carnival committee decision.
Yes, it's a committee decision. When you weigh all the factors, and I say all the factors.
You mentioned that there were some challenges. What were those challenges?
The challenges that I foresaw in terms of the Friday, staging the show the Friday, for our returning Anguillians, they would have missed that show. Most of them, I know from history, typically arrive here either Saturday night or more so into Sunday. If that show was, so to speak, staged on the Friday, then it would have created a situation that I don't think would have been too pleasing to our returning nationals, because they say what you like, they're gonna come home for Calypso show. They know when it is. Normally it's Wednesday. Okay, it slips now into Thursday, but they still will be here, as opposed to it happening the week prior and they would not have been here. Aside from that, I do know it's a perennial problem. I know, God rest his soul, John Benjamin had a particular expression of saying August comes the same time every year. I have seen over the many, many, many years that Calypsonians, for some reason or the other, they tend to have some challenges as it relates to their preparedness. And I felt that was a much shorter window in terms of the finals night. It might have created a bit of a, I should say, unnecessary or undue pressure in terms of their readiness. Hence, I tried my best to, as I said, move it to the Wednesday back there, but it was, as I said, a committee decision, but settled for the Thursday. And with the understanding that most likely we will revisit this for the next Carnival 2027.
But my question is, Angola Summer Festival is a combination of boat race and carnival events,
Right.
and I don't see the reason why it's not unfit to have the village close a certain particular night to support a bigger event. To me, Calypso have been kind of falling off a bit, and this, instead of we get creative to enhance it, to me this is like a detrimental nail in the coffin.
Correct.
Well, one could say that, yeah, there will be, I would say, justification to a degree to say that, but at the same time, they said insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome. So over the many years, yes, it has been Wednesday night, but who's to say? I'm just saying this. Who's to say that possibly the Thursday night might turn out to be a bigger night? We just don't know that at this point. But
I can guarantee if you wasn't Chimman, you would be in Meads Bay. So would I. It's a hard choice. I think it's a hard choice.
But but if and I say if, yeah, just let me finish this. I was just saying, I can recall many August Thursdays, many, where I had to leave August Thursday and head back to Carnival Village for Queen Show. That was pretty routine. Yeah.
We're gonna bring in Baker here after I make this. The question I want to pose to you, Mark, and Vanya alluded to it earlier. We know that over the years, the Calypso show and the Queen show used to draw quite a bit of numbers. Those were the biggest events during the summer festival.
No longer the case.
In recent times, we have seen where, in terms of participation for the Queen show, we don't see the numbers sometimes. And as far as the Calypsonians is concerned, we have seen where that has also dwindled in terms of numbers. Now, to put it to the Thursday is like pushing it into the abyss rather than trying to revive it. Because
I don't, sorry, Cello, I don't mean to cut you in, but I don't mean to cut you off. I don't necessarily subscribe to that 100%, because at the same time, one has to be, and I noticed your co-host did mention it, in the sense that it has been quite obvious in terms of whatever the reason or reasons for the decline in the attendance at the Calypso show. I mean, it has been pretty obvious for quite some time. Be that as it may, at the same time, yes, we got to find a way to, so to speak, re-engineer it, if I should say it that way, to try our best to see how we can get the kind of crowds that used to come in for the Calypso show in years past. Yes, you used to have it, whether it was a rivalry, if you wish to call it that, whether it was from the Blowing Point crowd versus the Stoner Ground crowd versus even of late the Island Harbor. But I know when it was much more intense, if I could say that way, the days of the Stoner Ground versus the Blowing Point or versus the Valley type of fan support. Over the years, that has considerably dwindled for whatever reason in that sense. But at the same time, I believe still that there is hope with the Calypso show. And what we intend to do is to ensure that we produce year on year a Calypso show of the highest caliber. I mean, one cannot detract from the fact that our Calypso is of a high standard.
Yes, we know that over the years it has been. Baker, jump in here. You, Calypsonian, talk to me. What are your grievances that you might have in all of this?
Top of the evening again. You could hear me clear?
Yeah.
All right. Personally, he said that it was a decision made by the committee, right? Disrespect. Yeah. You see, nobody don't look at it as disrespect, but that is the ground truth. That is disrespect, whether you like it or not. You understand? Because first of all, you need to know Calypso is the brainchild of Carnival. And this is the point a lot of them is missing. It's time to give Calypso its growing glory. That's not happening, okay? I repeat again, Calypso is the brainchild of Carnival. Before there was glittering, costume, mega stage, song, truck, extravaganza production, and all these things. There was Calypso. It was the habit of the people, the voice of the masses, the newspaper, of the poor man newspaper, as to say, and the conscience of the nation. But yet, we overlook that. And in this thing, no, to me, I don't want to say becoming politically inclined, but why change something that was already there? If Calypso is dying, why move it to make it die more? Like I hear you mention that you're sinking it in the abyss. But I would even add to that, sinking it in the abyss and throwing concrete on top of it. That's the way I see it. And that's the way it is, right? Because Calypso won a competition. For example, the Queen or King, whoever won that night, got to represent Saturday, right? Now, what time do they have to rehearse and practice? On that Friday, guess what? That's when they have parade day. And that'll be half a day. They'll be tired at the time and want to go home. So what justice is Anguilla Calypsonian getting for that competition? No, it makes me feel it's a setup for Antigua to win again, or setup for some place else to win. And that I don't sit well with that, right? Because the Calypso competition was merely another event that Carnival calendar, and that had to be stay that way, right? It is a foundation upon which Carnival was built, and they need to remember this. It is the first-class stage of the masqueraders, composers, the musicians, the cultural and storytellers. Every aspect of Carnival traces to the root back of the chant of the rhythm and the social commentary of Calypso. And that's what they need to know, right? For that reason, the Calypso show deserves the highest priority and the utmost respect. It should never be treated secondary, overshadowed. It should never be displayed as sacrifice for any other event. You understand? Rather, all over Carnival activity should plan around it. And they know this. The Queen show, while it's important, yes, we love to see the nice ladies in the swimsuit, etc. But yes, and respect the component of Carnival should remain secondary. All right? They should remain secondary in this high monarchy, right? The culture, the significance, the beauty, the poise, whatever the case may be, the presentation, the place where we cannot supersede, the art, the grave, the butt for festival itself. Guess what? Calypso created that. Calypso was born on plantation for this. Everything built around Calypso. Nothing whatsoever should replace, diminish, or compete with the Calypso monarch. Competition, never that. For no kind of prominence, right? But listen to this. While they think, right? Because you have to understand, we might think something and plan something, and guess what? They try it with the most important show of the year. They try it with Calypso. That time has come for us, for Calypso to be praised now. Let us honor the composers, the singers, the musicians, the pioneers, build the institution. Let us restore Calypso to its rightful place. That's what they should be doing instead of moving it. The pinnacle of the Carnival celebration. They should be restore all of that. We must not wait until the art form is struggling for survival before appreciating its value.
Right.
Okay? We should celebrate it while we strive, while support it, while speak to protect it, while it carry the soul of the people. Give
Right.
Calypso
Hey.
flowers. What is there now? Give Calypso its crown now. That's
Very-
what they need
very-
to do.
very-
As a
very
custodian
strong
of the
argument.
culture, let us genuflect because great art has served the guardians of all history. Okay, the voice of struggles of the people, the pride of the Caribbean civilization. And this is what they need to know. I could guarantee you they don't even know when Calypso, when the first Calypso tent was, for example, and when the first Calypso landmark was. Okay? And I'm going to tell you that was 1914 and the first tent was 1920. If they had no all of this, they would know the importance of Calypso and know that it's the first priority.
Yeah.
You
Good
understand?
point.
We
Good
should not,
point,
you
Baker.
should not ever put
Baker.
Calypso second class. So
Right,
that there
right.
with total disrespect.
Let's keep it calm.
So,
I know
Baker,
it's frustrating.
I don't mean to be a thing here for you. You heard all of that in the meeting that we last
Yeah.
held.
Yeah.
It was
So
all
let's not bring
stated.
that back.
So you don't need to go back there. And
Right,
by the
Mark.
way,
But Mark,
we
my
fully
question:
know.
what replaced the Calypso show on Wednesday night? Like what changes was made to make it fall on Thursday? That it was so detrimental.
So the Queen Show is going to be staged on, I
Wednesday.
should say, part 2 of the Queen Show will be
Right.
staged on the Wednesday night. The
But
pageant,
Tuesday-
when I say
Tuesday
the
night.
teenage pageant, is going to be on the Tuesday night. Yeah. The Monday night is the only night there's no event in the Lansing Bowl Cultural Center.
Right. So we glorify Queen Show and sacrifice the Calypso show.
But like I said,
I know it's
that's
the
me
committee. It's
personally.
not you alone.
Yeah,
it's the committee.
right.
Mr.
just
Romney?
on my-
Those
Yeah.
decisions.
Sorry, cut your question, but can you send me a link? Fanny, send me a link because you have people who want to log on to listen in.
Cool FM. Let me WhatsApp it to you.
Yeah, what's up with me so I can send it out.
All right. Mark, you would have heard Baker emphasize, he was very emphatic
Yeah,
in
he
what
was
he
very
said.
emphatic. But sorry, Stella, I don't mean to cut you in again, but I've heard all of that from the last meeting. It's nothing.
Yeah,
new
I was
that he
just
said.
You're
about
live now. That was a
and
meeting,
he
but this
also-
is in your face. This is for the people in to hear. That was in a room. This is like how you make this decision in the room with the government
All right.
and in the Canada committee. This is in your face now for the people in to hear. And this is my passion, my passionate
I
voice
also hope
to the people
Baker.
in.
Okay, Baker. I
Okay,
hear you
Baker,
loud and clear. But
let
you
me
can't
let me
change.
let me
You
call
can't
this
change.
program to order here, really,
Yeah, please do.
on a point of order.
That's not good.
You know,
I don't do acting.
We would have had a meeting where Calypsonians would have met with the committee and a few things was outlined. Yes, I know that Baker and most of the Calypsonians are pretty much aggrieved over the change in date, really. But be as it may, we have to understand that Calypso plays an integral role as far as the summer festival is concerned. Mark, how many Calypsonians have registered?
Correction,
Right,
we didn't
so-
agree.
Go ahead, Mark.
Is Baker still singing, or is it time for me to?
No,
take
no,
the
I
mic
want to
back?
correct Melo Fellow. You said we may have agreed. No, I did not agree. We did not agree.
Not
But it is
agreed, aggrieved,
He
aggrieved,
said agreed,
Okay, okay,
Baker,
all right,
Baker,
okay.
aggrieved,
Make me sure. I hearing
Baker.
things. I want to be
Baker.
sure.
aggrieved.
Baker,
I ain't got time
make
to
up your-
my
Baker,
speaker
make
song.
up your
Speaker.
mind whether you're speaking French or whether you're speaking English. He said agreed.
Je parle anglais, monsieur.
Baker,
Yeah, okay.
Baker, let's just get through this part. Let Mark do his interview. Then we can have a time that we can get your face.
Mark, tell me how many
Let's
Calypsonians
welcome.
have registered.
Let Axon's here with us. He's gonna just sit by for a little bit.
Right. So, Cello, initially we had some 24 Calypsonians that have registered. For varying reasons, we've had 7 that have withdrawn. And when I say varying reasons, from travel, from other personal circumstances, and one of them that is most heart-wrenching in the circumstances, I would have to say, is with the passing of Brother Lee, who was going to be a songwriter, composer for a couple of those guys. And as a result of his untimely passing, they have decided to withdraw from the competition. So we have 17 who will be taking part in the semifinals, which is slated for July 11th. And
How,
from
how
that
many songs do you
17,
sing? How many songs will be
one,
sung? One?
one song, yes,
Mm.
one song. And
Mark, as a calypso lover, I really don't like that because I feel that
That's the semifinals, though.
Cello,
yeah, but I
Cello, this
feel
is,
that
yeah,
Time, time.
hold on, Cello. You got to deal with a couple factors here. You're talking, we didn't have the number of calypsonians like in past in terms of in the 30s, if I just say that way, because I can recall as many as 34 calypsonians being registered for different years of the carnival calendar. We had 24. That 24 dwindled down to 17. And the fact is that to do 2 songs at night, you're talking 34 songs. That will be a very long show. And by the way, the Calypsonians should say this. Baker voted for it as well. That was put to a poll, and the Calypsonians themselves. Let me be very clear, and Cello, to use your own words, they were quite emphatic in saying one song. Okay,
all right.
one song,
But
and I'm not using one song from Roxy. I'm using one song in terms of the format for the semifinals. So that was
yeah, but
decided by the Calypsonians. Hold on, it was put out to them. They voted for that one song format. So that's what it is. So the one song is what will be they will be judged on, and that will from that 17 that will be competing for the 8 slots. When I say 8 slots, 8 will go through to the semifinals, to the finals. Sorry, from the semifinals to go up against the defending monarch Roxy. That's what it is. And incidentally, I must say, in terms of the positions that we are looking at, it will be the winner, and we'll be looking at first runner-up, second runner-up, and the third runner-up. That's new.
all
Apart
right.
from that, we have a couple incentives that were also already put out there for the first Calypso to release. We also have for the best social commentary, and there's one for most humorous. Those are 3 different categories outside of the actual competition.
Will y'all be giving the Calypsonians a little stipend as to help them with their preparation?
Yes, and they're aware of that. The hope
How
is
much?
that we will
May
have
I ask how much? May I ask how much?
$750 EC dollars.
Hmm.
They didn't get it
And
yet,
that,
though. It's not been distributed yet.
no, it will be the plan is to have a launch on Wednesday. That's Wednesday upcoming. And at that time, they will sign the agreement along with the receipt of the $750.
Next week.
Yes, next week. That's in the chat, Baker.
I know it is. I just like the
Oh.
word next week. Because
Mark,
it come to pass.
Mark, due to time, what plans do you bring to the whole thing? You are the chairperson. Anything new in terms of the development of Calypso and a whole? Anything new that would be added?
Well, you see, owing to a number of factors, when I say factors, we were hoping to have a particular workshop for the Calypsonians. However, given the cost constraints, and at this point, even though we have sent out letters to prospective sponsors, and that happened since in January, we haven't yet, we've got commitment, yes, they will sponsor, but we haven't received the actual, if I should say, cash to make the mail go around. So we are still awaiting that, but it is forthcoming. But as a consequence, we have been somewhat, for lack of a better word, handicapped in really moving forward the agenda we would have liked to have pursued. But be that as it may, what I need to step back here too, and I know this might be a bit itchy for some, the fact is that things are being done different to how they have been done in the past. With the creation of the Anguilla Festivals Development Commission, which is a statutory body in itself, you now have to come under much more, if I should say, comply with a number of procedures as it relates to the operations of the Anguilla Summer Festival.
Is it
No
more
longer,
challenging? Is it more challenging?
I wouldn't say necessarily challenging, but it is much more structured in the sense that what you will ensure now is that you don't get into a situation whereby there will be cost overruns and then they're just being picked up year on year. That's what used to happen with government having to pick up that tab. That is no longer going to be the case going forward. Now we have to comply with a number of requirements as it relates to example purchasing. You have to go through the full process. When I say the process in terms of requisition, purchase order, invoice before payment. So it's a much more structured, if I should say, type of operation, and as such there's quite a bit of accountability and responsibility.
I
So
applaud. I applaud that. I am
yeah.
all for that, dear. Really, no doubt about it. But at this stage of the game, no, Mark, I see a slight regression, um,
How?
which is so sad, really.
A
I
regression
mean,
how? Sorry, I
uh,
had to put that back to you. A regression
no,
how?
there's a lot of areas which I don't have the time to
First
expound
of
and
all, Mark,
elaborate on now.
we don't even know the schedule. I mean, you barely see
You
the
know,
schedule
because
published.
The
there's a lot
schedule,
of
hold on.
things,
The
Mark.
schedule, sorry, Vanya, if I may respond to that. The schedule came out. There was an actual launch. I don't know how you
I
missed
know,
that.
but that
There
was a
was an
long
actual.
time. I wasn't nobody aware of that. That's happened so quick. I mean, where's the schedule? It should be
The schedule
it should
is
be
out. It's on
published.
social. It's published. It came out since March
I
16th.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen it.
Mark,
I don't
Go
know if
to the.
anybody on the panel saw it.
I will invite you to go to the Anguilla Summer Festival page on Facebook. It is there. It is on various social media platforms, Instagram as well. I believe it's also on TikTok. Outside of the fact that there was a formal launch on March 16th,
you see
at which
Oh,
the various medias,
What Vanya is
media
alluding
houses were
to.
present.
Yeah, but what Vanya is alluding to is that Carnival in recent times seems to be the best kept secret.
Cello,
Um,
sorry, Cello, I have to shoot that down. Sorry. In
no,
all due
I'm telling
respect
you,
to you.
I'm
No, no,
being
no. I
real
am
here. You know,
telling you. Yeah. But I'm being
I'm being
honestly.
real. That's what Vanya is telling you.
I'm being very
yeah,
real
but
with you as
Mark,
well.
I see more promotions
We
about international shows than the local shows, or even a schedule of the shows at
the
all.
local show. We right now, for example, Baker, have you sent in your photo?
Excuse me.
Did you send in your photo?
I have it right. I have it right here for you. I thought I did. If I didn't,
Oh, you see, you thought you need to send it.
wait. Hold on. No, honestly
I
speaking,
say you need to send it. Don't make me have to sing a song on you, because that could happen.
no, we don't want
Mark,
that.
I
Mark,
say don't make
I'm
me
Mark, I
sending
have
it
want to
to
as we
sing a
ask.
speak. No,
song on
I
you,
thought I
because
did.
that
I'm
could
gonna
happen.
check. I'm check.
All right,
It's not as it right now.
gentlemen. Mark, we've seen where a lot of AI is surfacing now.
Oh yeah, they got three
How
calypsos on me. Three
how
calypsos.
would you
Yes.
how would you I'm you know how y'all going to be able to deal with the AI as part of
Interesting.
the competition?
You mentioned that. I did put Ole Baker responded to it. I did put out a particular article that came out, and this is becoming more and more. I noticed, I believe it's in St. Lucia, they are looking at it, St. Vincent, sorry, not St. Lucia. In St. Vincent, they are looking at this very closely. Their carnival is upcoming, and there's a lot of emphasis, which, you know, AI is a beast unto itself. There's no question about
So
it.
so now you see why I brought up that point. You know, um, I don't know how y'all going to formulate any guidelines as to how
Well, like I
y'all
said,
intend to deal with that.
hold on. Yeah, I think you missed it. I just said to you, I put in our chat. When I say our chat, I mean the chat for the Calypsonians, which Baker is pretty active in. I don't think he sleeps. But
But fill me and the listeners and the viewers in on what this article pertain.
to AI and how in terms of its use, we have a number of persons I know. In terms of the musical arrangement, for example, and Baker could comment on this even further because he made some comments as it relates to that in terms of the authenticity of it. But when it comes into the lyrical content, that could create some interesting things. And I just want to get back to this whole thing about this censorship issue, which you alluded to earlier in the program, because that is absolutely false. What had happened really when I spoke about the whole issue of Anguilla becoming a much more litigious society. I made reference to the fact that right now I understood there were some 2 or 3 cases before our local courts as it relates to defamation of character based on posts on social media. What I said in that meeting is that the Calypsonians need to be a bit more mindful of the fact that they would need to probably employ more creativity in their compositions as opposed to outright calling someone's name with something that may not necessarily be true. That was the statement made as it relates to safeguarding themselves. This is a standard clause within a contract. In the event that this person takes any legal recourse or legal action based on what may have been stated in a particular calypso, what was said is that because by extension, if I should say, the tentacles could extend to the Carnival Committee, what we made very clear, the Carnival Committee will not take responsibility for any lyrical content.
So there's no immunity? There's no immunity?
So, as I said earlier, Anguilla, whether we choose to believe it or not, has become a very litigious society. And bearing in mind, there are a number of cases where things like this stand, and there's something called judicial precedent. So if it happened in another country, the lawyer, skillfully enough, can make reference to it and use it here in Anguilla. And the court will have to look at it. So all I was simply trying to do was to make the Calypsonians aware, and I stress aware of these kind of realities. That's where that came from. It was never, ever mentioned that there was any form of censorship. I also went further to mention the case in Trinidad where you had what was considered more or less censorship, where the defending monarch in that case, during his presentation, for some reason or reasons, the mic was cut, I understood, and apart from the mic cut, the radio feed was also cut when he got to a particular point in his present rendition of his calypso. That I don't know how it all shook out in the end, if I should say that way, but these are things that have happened and we need to take note of it. And when I say we have to take note of it, because when it comes to the court is far wide and reaching. What lawyers will look to do is research, and they will dig up maybe a case from 1800 to use in a case for 2026. That's how things happen.
But do the Calypsos sign a contract with the committee?
Yes, that's what I made reference to earlier. Yes.
Yeah, they're responsible.
Yeah, and that is in there. That is in there in terms of the lyrical content and all that. Yeah. That's all that was mentioned in the meeting. Nothing more beyond that.
So, Mark, next season, will we see the date go back, to the Wednesday or what?
I did say I will try. It's not left to me to say, but I made that, if I should say, argument based on what we will see, so to speak, transpire this season.
So this is just this season is an experiment.
Yeah, and those were my words. Those were the exact words I used in the meeting. That's where it came from. And whoever it is, I don't know who is Queen AI or King AI.
Who sang the song?
Yeah, they sing the song. Yeah, it's
a good song, Mark. It's very creative.
I think you should get Road March next.
It's really creative.
You shouldn't
get that album.
Mark, you mentioned that this season, the Calypso lovers can expect a show of a high quality. That's what you mentioned, right?
That's what I said. The Calypsonians are working hard. I know a number of them have already, so to speak, got their material out. I know the rehearsals should be picking up steam over the coming weeks, and I just look forward to having a great show.
But the night of the competition, are you saying that 8 will be chosen versus the reigning monarch?
Correct.
But they'll sing 2 songs, though, right?
Yes, they'll sing 2 songs. Yes.
In the summer thing is always one song. So
One song.
So they won't get the luck. They wouldn't be getting the luxury of driving away in a nice Jeep, in it.
Unfortunately, and that's beyond my control. Even though we had, one ardent, if I should say, supporter who say he has a Bang Shang as opposed to a Shang Gang, but the
But
Bang
anyhow,
Shang is still out there.
I didn't
But
hear
what
that
I
one at
say,
all.
yeah, but that
but then
shows
you missing everything.
that shows that the Calypsonians still have that motivation to sing. I know that recently the Jeep was a sort of a motivation for some of them, but with the Jeep not there, and you said that the numbers still looking good, that's pretty good. And I like where
Yes,
you
it
all have
is.
interject. I like where you all have interject some incentives. That should always good for the Calypso on a
Yes,
whole, because
yes,
we see where Calypso at one point in time looks like it's in trouble. For some reason or the other, people were not gravitating to Calypso anymore and stuff like that. And a lot of work has to be done to re-engineer, to rejuvenate, to put Calypso back to where it was. It's gonna take some doing, really. Gonna take
it's
some
gonna.
doing, and that is
They-
why I personally felt that this change of the date didn't sit too well with me.
Yeah, but Solo will be
You know.
past that now. What I want to say
No,
is
no,
this.
I am
No, no,
starting
no,
up here
hold
now,
on.
Mark.
Yeah,
I am
yeah, no.
summing.
Yeah, you're summing, but there's some important information. Since you got me here, let me just share it.
Okay.
And I want to be very clear with this. And I'd like to use your word again. I'd like to hit you back with emphatic. The prize winner will walk away with $20,000
$20,000.
Yes. I want people to hear it from me.
East
The
Caribbean.
first, that's like I said, I did say East Caribbean dollars, not US dollars, not Uncle Sam. I know you're up in Miami, Vania, but no, it's not US dollars, it's EC dollars, currency of the land. All prizes are quoted in EC dollars. Some might call it EasyCom dollars. The first runner-up will get $15,000. Second runner-up, $12,000. The third runner-up, which is new, $8,000. And then for the non-placing finalists, they will get $3,000.
All right, sounds
So
pretty
that's
good.
that's the prize.
And,
That's what's up for grabs. For the
So
and one, yeah.
can we say here that all seems to be lovey-dovey as far as the Calypso world? No.
Yeah, I got a lot of hugs and kisses on the last meeting.
What?
Lots of hugs and kisses. So
That's
All
it,
right.
Baker. You give some hugs and kisses, huh?
what turned out, what may have started us as thinking it was a divorce court, turned out to be another matrimonial court. We got married again.
But Mark, according to that song, you were missing for a couple of months. I mean, say Mark was missing.
That song, that's
Where were you, Mark?
I was always there. You must ask, where were the Calypsonians? Like I earlier said, it was only 3.
Baker, you know anything about writing that song?
No, it would have been harder hitting than that. It's too weak.
Anything,
Baker?
as far as clarity is concerned, we were able to establish tonight
I hope so.
that Calypsonians were never censored.
Never.
That was just alleged. And
That was a
Mark,
misinterpretation or a misprint.
right. Mark, I believe more misprint than anything else.
Not coming from me
And-
though.
Mark also said that so far, the reason for the change, he outlined a few things there really. But with that said, we are very ecstatic and elated to know that Calypso is live again. So we have to now conclude there because our next guest is in standby, and we don't want to keep him too long past his bedtime. So I think I want to say, Mark, thank you so much for taking time to join us. We're going to be in discussion more as we go ahead, we will have a longer time to really explain everything in detail. But thanks for giving up your time to join us here this evening. Deeply appreciated. Have yourself a good birthday when it comes. and also Father's Day as well. Thank you again, Mark, so much for being a part of the show.
And let me take this opportunity as well to extend in advance Happy Father's Day
Thank
to
you, guys.
all tomorrow. I trust you'll have a most enjoyable day. You'll be well pampered and everything else. And definitely look forward as well to the Calypso competitions upcoming. We are hoping that we'll have very, very interesting Calypso rivalry. And I'm really looking forward to a high caliber show at the end of it all. It's a bit unfortunate. We had some hiccups on the road. As I say, there's no carnival without a little bit of bacchanal or whatever else. Calypso always seems to be in the center of all of that, but Calypso is all well and good. It's all
Thank
All
well
you,
right.
and
Mark.
good.
Thank you,
Have
dear
a good night,
Mark.
man.
All
And
right.
Thank you.
Baker, we want to say to Baker, thank you so much for being on the show as well.
You're very welcome. But I want to say this so Mark could remember. You gone already? But anyway, you're going to hear it back. I want to say this so people could know, people could remember, right? As we move forward, let us never forget that Calypso is more than entertainment. It is our history, our identity, our voice, our culture, compass, the same art form that challenge oppression, which we tend to forget now and then. Celebrate the victory, educate generation, preserve our story, deserve to stand proudly at the forefront. We need to remember this. It deserves to stand proudly at the forefront for Carnival every time Carnival season comes around. If we
Thank
truly
you.
value our heritage, Melocello, then we must elevate Calypso. You know this too. Support our Calypsonian, of course.
Agree.
Invest in our art form and restore the rightful place and honor, and let the generation to come and stop taking Calypso for granted and start to celebrate it. Because we have the juniors coming up, and we need to teach them that they need to proceed and carry on the mantle. It's the crown of the jewel of our culture. We need to remember that.
All
Remember
right.
this, okay? So make
Thank
sure
you,
that
dear Baker.
make sure you know that on your radio you tell them I said give Calypso its praises.
Yeah, we
Don't
know
forget
that Calypso. We know that
I agree with you.
Calypso. We know that Calypso plays an integral role as far as the summer festival is concerned. Thank you so much again, Baker Jr., for being there, His Majesty.
that.
We do
Thanks for having me.
appreciate
Blessed
and
evening.
enjoy Father's
And
Day.
happy Father's Day to all Anguillians and globally. Happy Father's
All
Day.
right.
Blessings.
Thank you so much again. All right, viewers and listeners, wherever you are listening and viewing the most talked about program on Facebook nowadays, In Your Face. Of course, you know we are getting set for the carnival season, so we every now and then you'll hear Calypsonians, band leaders, troop leaders, all that encompasses the summer festival will be appearing on this program. Now, let's move on, shall we? We say a pleasant good evening to Mr. Lennox Vanterpool, a man that wears so many hats. He's an educator, you name it, he's involved in all of that. He's an aspiring politician as well. Mr. Lennox, Mr. Foothill, how are you doing this evening? Welcome to the program In Your Face.
Thank you very much. Good night, gentlemen. Can you hear me good?
Right. Yes, you can hear you pretty good.
Okay.
Good night.
Yes.
Lennox.
Good night. Good night. Thank you for having me. I say hello. I will never get away from that Foothill name, eh? All those
Well-
years, still the Foothill.
You remember what my name was, right?
You were Mr. Hogg from Hog Hole?
Yeah, Mr. Wild Hog.
Wild Hog. Yeah.
Yeah, I was the politician.
Yes. Yeah.
You remember
And I
that? Anyway,
Yeah, and you conducted that interview well. I just want to say congratulations to all of you for this, for the show, number one, and for getting to the bottom of these issues. As a musician myself, and hearing the importance of getting through to these issues in Calypso and the way that Carnival, the summer festival, is run. And this is really the crux of an emerging democracy, to get to the bottom of issues in an amicable way and to try to thrash out things so that we could leave things better than we would have made.
And key was amicable, and that's the thing, you know. When you got a committee that make a decision without including the people that's going to be affected, you know, that shows a form of dishonesty and disrespect to the art itself. If you got an event which is a cultural event that you sacrifice for more of an international event, that is our summer festival should be more about displaying and enhancing our culture, not focusing on international culture. Because you know that was my fight when I was chairman. I had a fight to get the theme song for the band Clash, the band Clash changed from the Trinidad song to a local Anguillan song. Because why are we, if it's our culture, why are we glorifying other country cultures and not ours? And that's what the problem I got with that.
All right. Thank you,
Well,
Mr.
understanding that, gentlemen, if you was to look at the definition of carnival and what it really stands for when it comes to emancipation, the key word, emancipate, to free.
Right.
Now,
Right.
if you're going to have this dictatorial conduct by the committee, how could you didn't find the hallmark of the event?
Yeah.
How could
Yeah.
you unilaterally, as a committee, make a
Sacrifice.
decision? Now, let's be hypothetical. Suppose the participants of the show, that is in this case, the Calypsonians, decide to boycott. Where are you?
Give all
Where
right.
are we in the context? And it's very unfortunate that, these things would happen. I didn't want to be too interruptive in the program as far as, putting forward my sentiments, because my good schoolmate was doing a commendable job. So I sat back in the audience to the interview. But it's really unfortunate, and they should never pat themselves on the back for that sort of conduct,
No.
in particular, this day and age.
Mr. Rowan,
before you get my
Mr. Rowan, let me say that I really, truly applaud what you were saying there, really, because you couldn't have said it better. In fact, those are the same sentiments and same words that I would have echoed, because the Calypsonians are the ones who makes the show. You understand? And when you just change things, dictate it, and say that is the way it's gonna stand, whether you like it or not. I mean, come on. And as you alluded to just now, suppose there was gonna be a boycott, you wouldn't have no show. So we must understand that Calypsonians play an integral role, but you must also treat them with respect. You understand? Because what Vanya emphasized on, and he was very emphatic about it, but I'll put it in my words, around Summer Festival is the time when we showcase our culture to the world.
Yeah.
That's when our culture takes the big stage here.
And the thing is too, fellow, another issue I noticed too is that I haven't heard him on your show up to now. You're the man that I know is called Mr. Carnival. Last year, same thing. Is this a political something? Is that a decision by my political decision? Why they boycotting you? Your station, I mean, you as the carnival man, when you hear that steel pan start, to me, that's when carnival starts. You bring in the spirit, the light, you get it, hyped up there. And they refuse to come. I guess they refuse to come to you, instead go by other station. Why a station of choice? Why? I don't understand that. That part there got me kind of,
Well,
like, why is it got to be political?
You have to understand, Vanya, that over the years, I played an integral role as far as the promotion aspect of it.
Exactly.
They don't call me Mr. Carnival for nothing.
There you go.
I normally don't have to reach out to the committee to be on my show.
But
They
you did,
knew.
right?
They knew that they had to come to me to get it out there. And I took upon my time for years and did the promotional aspect of it. But for somehow, the last 2 years seems, 2026 on a whole, seems as if 2026 is a Jimmy fix. So, with that said, I'm not going to kind of ramble on that any longer. We're going to move on. Mr. Vanderpool, again, we want to say thanks to you for giving of your time to be here with us this evening to discuss. Let's look. There's so many different things I want to look at, really, because you wear so many hats. You know, let us start with education. You are a farmer educator, right? Correct?
Not farmer, still.
Oh, still is? Okay, I stand corrected. I stand corrected, sir.
Yes.
Now, as you look at education in Anguilla, as an educator, how will you assess the current state as a farmer, the current state, sorry, of the educational system in Anguilla?
Well, thank you for that question, because as I said, I would have retired just to clear it up, because that is why some people may be thinking farmer. But I'm a music educator, and that has always continued since 1989. I am the founder of the Marlin School of Music. And so that would have covered now all these 30-something years. And then I would have signed on with the Department of Education for the government of Anguilla in 1986, fresh out of high school, as an uncertificated teacher. And so since I retired in 2024, I would have been asked to come back after the general elections and to lend a hand there. So I'm back there as well in the public system. I will answer that question though by reflecting on a little event that happened 10 years ago when I was about to launch Broken Cards, which itself is a critique, a book that I wrote, which is a critique of the education system itself. And while at a graphics business in the Valley, a lady heard somebody else say in the office there that Lennox wrote a book. You know, and when she overheard it and she said, Lennox wrote a book? I know what is in that already. You see, just without, no, we hadn't had any conversation about it or anything. But she thought, just because they know my conversation, they knew my interest, all of that from way back. This has been going, my interest in education has gone back from the time that we were in school, and then becoming closer to it as a teacher. You know, I started to look at how things are done, how children learn, how the material is being taught and delivered, and I saw quite a number of gaps. The answer to your question is that the education system today needs a lot of attention, and we have not been seeing that sort of an interest, the real passion from the leaders and the places where it should go, you know, in the effective way to really transform it. In fact, that is why you said earlier about my being an aspiring politician. I don't know if that is the right term, but really it is to improve the education delivery system on behalf of the young people. I got an opportunity being approached by the APM, the leadership there, Dr. Webster and his team, and the Minister of Education, former Minister Deanne Kentish Rogers. She had a particular interest in education. I mean, some of the same vexing issues that plagued our group in the past and so on. And in fact, that worried the present minister, the Honorable Rogers Webster. You know, in the run-up to the general elections, she was railing against the education system, and rightly so, because we shared a lot of the same concerns. But that is why the former administration conducted an entire comprehensive survey in the Education Transformation Report to give ear and give space to students, to teachers, to parents, to all the stakeholders in the education question to hear what are the concerns. Now, we knew the answers by and large from before, because in a group that I was fortunate and honored to chair, called the Force, focus on redesigning children's education. We too had done a study and found out things like reading. When we talk about education, people may feel like, well, why are you talking about education? Children are going to school every day, which is true. But we're talking about basic reading and understanding, the ability to reason and to think critically. A lot of the issues that you were discussing before in the whole back and forth with the Carnival Committee and with Calypsonians, and the whole idea for respect and for understanding in conversations and so on. These things are basic, but where do they start? You can't come to the middle of a conversation and expect everything to fall in place perfectly. So that is what we were looking at during those years. In fact, from as far back as 2016, when the Broken Cause would have been launched. And a number of us, a group of us together, tried to move the conversation. So you could imagine our disappointment in 2026 to know that an education study is completed. It is there, complete with recommendations, with observations from all the stakeholders, as I said, and ready to go. But up to now, we haven't heard or seen any real motion on that study, and we are hoping that it has not gone to some dusty shell to die just a quiet death.
Let me ask you there, Lennox. In your opinion, though, what are the biggest strengths and weaknesses within our schools today?
Well, the strength is our small size. You know, even with all of the challenges that we have, we still have the opportunity to pull things back and to make things better for our students. We have only one high school. That was the case when we were going to school back in the 1970s. You know, we still have the 6 public schools. We have 1 or 2 private institutions and so on added. But the setup is basically the same. And the fact that we have been grappling with things like anger, issues and violence, and all of these unsavory issues. The fact that we have been grappling with things like the ability to read. This is not my imagination. Even as recently as a few weeks ago, I heard the minister talking about the attention that has to be paid to our literacy policy. You know, this is something that we would have been looking critically at and would have come up in the implementation of the report that I mentioned earlier. So yes, we still have, especially in the primary school, we have caring teachers, we have students that by and large are still taken care of and looked after by the system. We have a resource-rich system because there's affordability. So when teachers would like to have resources and so on, in the main, those things are available. The weakness and some of the challenges that the report would have pointed to and we would have discovered in reflection are things like the overload, too many subject areas. We have the differences in the teaching methods and so on. This whole desire to standardize things so that we are doing the same things as the other OECS countries, and we have something called now the synchronized curriculum, the PAUL, and it is our view, and my view particularly, that before we could set out to really be a part of the sub-region or the region, we have to take care of Anguilla first. We have to take care of the challenges that are really in our face, to use the name of your show, so that we could, rectify, give our children the confidence that they need, give them the courage to be able to speak up on their own behalf, not in a rude way, not in a disrespectful way, but be able to put their hand up and say, look, this is not working as we think it should. I am not benefiting from this, things along those lines. So we have to be creating strong, confident students in the way. You see how the world is going. It is a complex, it is a confusing space now. But our children are still intelligent. They're still given the right environment, given the right tone that we, the adults, are called to set in their seeing and in their hearing. And the question is, are we as teachers, are we as leaders, are we as administrators doing what is required of us so that we could build that strong child, that when he or she graduates, could hold down a job and be confident, and could be polite, could be respectable, and all the things, the softer side of education, not only with the 12 and the 15 subjects, but could really deport themselves in a way that is commendable.
Before I let Vanya Vanya or Rowan jump in here, you spoke to the school curriculum. That need urgent reform or modernization. In terms of areas of the school curriculum, what would you say?
Well, yes, but basically, no, that is a very loaded question, and that will take us weeks to discuss. But suffice it to say that as I mentioned earlier, and what we know that is the main tool to access all of the rest of the curriculum is children's ability to read. Children's ability to read. That is what is going to convert the curriculum, whether we have it heavy or we have it light, or to be able to discuss what is a good balance. There is the crux of the matter. And we are saying that the data is showing that far too many of our children at primary, at secondary, even in the higher forms of secondary, are still unable to read well and to read beyond the reading age of a 9-year-old. That should say that in other words, when children are writing the CXC exams, they are not really fully comprehending. And that is why we have some of the results that we have. But we, over the years, have been prepared to say in Anguilla that, children are performing here in Anguilla on par with the rest of the Caribbean. But the point that you made earlier, where I said, I spoke about our small size, that alone should give us pause, because we are not supposed to be on par with the rest of the Caribbean. We're supposed to be light years ahead, just because of our small size. So we shouldn't have people in schools. They are not heavily special needs. Quote unquote normal children going to school every day, all day. We say, well, the parents this and the parents that, and the parents may have their share of blame. But what is it for the system where the children spend the majority of their waking hours with us in the school, to be going home day in, day out, and can't read. Another thing that you have to look at is that when we have these different tests, the test of standards and the CPEA and all of these different assessments, the children do well or poorly depending on the number of extra classes that they have to go. Now, could you imagine going to school all day, every day, and then to be able to be prepared for exams and the like, that you have to go to extra classes again? You know, that in our day, we would have been, that would have been a problem for us, because half of the time you're there talking about the play, Sleepy Valley. We spent serious time out of the classroom preparing for that. You know,
Yes.
in the old system, you had recess twice a day. These
Right.
children, they only have one. You know, so
That's a lot of stress, man.
it's like you're pressing them to do more stuff, and you're getting less out of them.
Yeah, that's overpowered.
But Lennox, in terms of subject in school, mandatory subjects, do you feel that emotional intelligence, conflict resolution, and life skills should become mandatory subjects in school?
Yes, and I think to an extent they are now, because you have the PSHE, you know, those things, but only in a limited limited sessions. What we have to look at is the pillars of education. These pillars would have been signed on by several governments and now by the United Nations from in the early 1970s. Everybody know about them: learning to do, learning to be, learning to learn, learning to live together, and learning to know, and so on. Now, I suggest that in Anguilla's present context, learning to live together is our most important pillar for now. And when you take learning to live together as, say, the theme for a year or for 5 years, given our context, given the challenges that we have to grapple with, and we had to grapple with over these recent years, and we are still doing so, then you shape that curriculum, you shape the balance in terms of bringing in the emotional intelligence and the other subjects that you're talking about, what we call the softer side of education. Taking time to speak with children, slowing the pace of all this academic. You could do maths and language, like how when we went to school, you did maths and language and PE, and you do some drama or theater. And now we have the IT that you really want to make sure that you. So the syllabus, the curriculum could be streamlined to say 4 or 5 subjects. Those who have the capacity, of course, to do 10 and 12 and they are well adjusted, they go ahead and do that. In fact, that is what comprehensive education really should be. And so, but I think that what has happened over the years is that we never really got a good sense of what we meant by the comprehensive system from 1986. And that is why we seem to be back and forth. I don't think anyone in the system is averse to making a solid, strong, impactful, relevant education system. It is just that perhaps we are afraid of trying new things, and we are not certain yet. And that is why I keep reminding leaders now that the transformation report is there, and it has been developed by a number of local professionals with the help of regional people from the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, from the Caribbean Development Unit, from all over. we came together and we put a solid document together that's ready for implementation. And not only, it is also open, because that is what the minister suggested. Keep it open so that more information, more ideas, more input can happen. Keep it as a live document. Well, as I say, I don't know how alive it is now, but that is how we
A working document, of course.
Yeah, working document. Yeah,
makes sense.
And so these are the areas. So I agree with you. Those sorts of subjects and emphases must take center stage now, because we should be emphasizing the pillar of learning to live together. Not to the exclusion totally of the others, but definitely as an emphasis.
Let me ask you, Lennox.
I'm going to let Kenya and Carol pick up from here. Anything more on education before we slip into the economy segment of it. So, Vanya, if you have a question,
you suggest. I think that you suggesting that our system should be tailored to our environment, our education system. One, and two, you mentioned that the takeaway he used to have 2 breaks, one in the morning, one in the evening. That to me, that's a social togetherness that you gotta go out and meet, other schoolmates and you interact. That part that part creates a unity of coming together and learning to deal with each other.
Absolutely.
And picnics, all that kind of stuff is not no more a thing. What's your thing on that?
Yeah, definitely. The socialization for young people is a big thing. I mean, just look at what we're struggling with now. In
young people.
When I would have graduated from college and come back to Anguilla in 1996, I came from doing my teaching practice. I went to school in St. Thomas at UVI and did my teaching practice there at Cancrine. People who are familiar with that space would remember that they used to call Cancrine Vietnam, and we used to, as teachers, walk nimbly around the campus to get away from fights. I mean, serious fights with police, part in these fights. Police with guns on the side, and that's a junior high school, like our campus B, And I was happy and relieved to teach my last day at Cancrine and say, thank God I'm coming to Anguilla, where none of that exists,
Exactly. Never did.
I was so wrong, because in 1996 and 1997, we started to see where children were marking off their territory. They call it their turf. This East man and this Valley man and this man from West and all of that. That is where that started. That's where the whole so this whole situation where we were coming together, it was allowed to me to some extent to just to go unresolved, and then you have where we are today. So I know some commentators say, you see what's happening, it is the violence of the society out in the communities bleeding back into the school. But I always say I find it is the other way around. It started in the school.
Yeah.
When we were going to school, we didn't know anything of thing. Many of my friends were from Blum Point and West End. We still friends. Island Harbor and all over the place, the valley. My parents, before I was born, they lived in the valley. They lived in West End. Given the job of my dad as an educator, and so we moved all around and was able to do that, up to now. My son could move anywhere, and so there are, and I know that there are other families with similar stories that they didn't get caught up in this kind of thing. But we cannot look at that alone. Yes, we have to praise God for those who can, but there are far too many of our youngsters who have bought into this kind of a territorial anger kind of a thing, and we cannot allow, not by any stretch. Look at the money now we are paying as a government and as a people for foreign officers to come in and to keep us safe. You know,
Still need more.
who are unfamiliar with the culture, and so that comes with its own challenges and all of that. What are we saying about these things in reference to the very saving of our children's lives? How are we reacting to the fact that our children's blood is draining in the street? You know, that to me must take center stage.
It's not. Harold?
Wait, Mr. Vanderpool, if I got you correctly, you spoke earlier in your presentation about challenges with students when it as it relates to their ability to read. Coming out of that document which you indicated is ready to go, the reform. What is in that document that will suggest that there's a way around that very concerning situation?
Well, you mean in terms of the recommendations?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, well, one of the key recommendations there, as I recall, I don't have the document before me, but one of the key recommendations is, number one, on the part of administrations and on the part of teachers and so on, to have high expectations of the students. I mean, all of us went to school, and you gravitate more to a teacher who figure, boy, Harold is a bright guy. I think he has a lot in him. He's going to do it. Vanya is industrious. I like the way he thinks. He's analytical. That kind of a thing. The literature will show that just having high expectations of the children in your class, will change their whole outlook. Will want them to try harder, will cause them to listen to you because they think that you're interested in them, all these things. More tangibly now, the report found that, the curriculum itself is too heavy. The fact that attention spans are now shorter, because of the wide and long use of the screens, the phones, and the tablets and what have you, that we have to teach differently. We have to approach it, not necessarily that you have to teach with a tablet because the children are more. That will have to be integrated. But in fact, we'll be looking at how to take time to maybe read to children. And a lot of these things would go back to the home as well. It really, the entire recommendations, although they may be specific and they may deal with different areas, it comes down to showing more love to our children, spending more time with them, and to be able to give them tasks that they can feel they can accomplish, measurable, and so that they could communicate better with us and see what we are going from there. But it has come at a time when the system, not only the local system, but systems that we buy into, like the CXC and different assessment agencies and whatever have you, they are looking for more testing. They are looking for more of this, more of that, that is calling for more data and we know if you buy into it, if the governments would have signed on and so on, then you have to be, you're just using the children to check a box, to, okay, you do this, you do. So sometimes and again, in our small space, we don't have to be doing that. We are saying, look here, we know John belonged to Jane and Peter. We could pull John aside. We could have a meeting with his parents. Yes, it could come a situation of the hours of work, the affordability, the economy, whatever. But still, the conversation and the results of these behaviors and these actions by our one education system, our one high school as a public school, these conversations are far too important not to have. And that was the thinking behind the APM's broad look at this education transformation exercise.
And sometimes too much testing too could.
Absolutely, but that is a key part of it. Yeah, because not only too much testing, but the way that you test, because you have to test, but the way that you test, and then what are you doing with all that data? It isn't that you're coming up to say, well, okay, we found this, and then we can rectify it next year. Check it out by next year. You test a child in grade 3. By the time you check that, he gone in grade 4. Preparing for another set of tests. You ain't even getting time.
That's why school is just about testing.
It's just like you're running them through roughshod, through a grind.
We're lacking more of that group stuff, that group together, put them, sections of groups, creative to get creative.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if it was to be straight in your face, Mr. Vanderpool, the 40-year-old comprehensive education system, do you think it is time to move away from it? And if so, in what's the direction?
Yeah, now there are areas of it that we can keep, because look at what the system has done. Before 1986, you had to sit an exam to the common entrance exam. People came in on different, like a sliding scale. If you pass down to 13, you go to Form 1. You miss that, and according to your age, you sit it again, and you catch up in Form 2, even Form 3, and so on. This system says that if you're 11 or if you're 12, by December the 31st, you go. And that is good. That is access. The access part of education. Other places call it universal secondary education. So you understand that at least everybody gets a fighting chance at a secondary education. The other part of that, though, is equity, because we know that in the common entrance exam, 13 would sit, but only 7 may pass. That those who are unsuccessful would have to remain. But the fact that all the children are now coming to the high school, it means that we have to find a way to take care of them. It is as simple as that. And that is where the 40-year-old comprehensive school, in my view, had been failing. And not only in my view, the data is there to show. That is why you have such deep concerns about basic reading. And if a child struggles to read, he's not then confident. She doesn't have courage to do anything much else. You see it in the classrooms all the time. Children would lash out, play like they're big and bad and bold, or play like they're rude and defiant. All of that is masking the fact that I can't read well, or I can't read at all. So the equity is the to me, what the system has done is it has held over that kind of an academic elitist kind of a thing from before. If you could make it, you could make it. These are sentiments that the children themselves are sharing. This ain't just me talking. But you could see it, because what is celebrated Know that after these exams here, you see, check the newspaper in a few weeks or whenever the results come out. You can see what's going on the paper. Somebody get 15 ones, somebody get 10 twos in the picture up there, you know. But you got somebody there who ain't passed none of the CXC subjects. But that person is human too, and that person would like to be recognized too. But what did the system do? And that person may have tried their best, but didn't make the mark. They may have improved all along from first farm to fifth farm, but still didn't get one subject, or only got one or two. So, but what placing the person with 15 ones and all A profiles on the paper, what that does, you know, because that person already knows that they're bright. They know that and I'm not coming against hard work. Don't get me wrong. Yes, we have to applaud that as well. But what I'm saying, the name of the school is the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School, you know, which means that we have to make every single child, not only make them feel as if they are worth something, but we have to make sure that we are meeting all those needs in a more comprehensive manner. Now, we may have the institutions, we may have the offices, we may have the special needs unit, we may have the sports place, we may have that. But I'm saying that for a small jurisdiction, we could be more personal and the children could feel us more. Check the alternative to it. If you figure that that is too much to ask, what is on the opposite side of the road? Rejection, rebellion, violence, death, even. Can we do something there where we have that captive audience in the primary, in the secondary, checking to see what music they're listening to, checking to see what books they're reading, checking to see what things they're viewing on the screens and so on. And it may sound to listeners as if I'm coming to say that the school has to be the home, but maybe the school has to be the home to a certain extent, at least to get us over this bump. Because there are some homes that definitely will need the help. Remember now, the education system, every education office is filled. Education office, primary education office, secondary education officer, multi-professional services, the behavioral psychologist, everybody's there. The home might have two parents who themselves could barely read, and they would want help with their children. You know, how is the school, Maria Montessori, the author of The Absorbent Mind and the leader of the Montessori style of education that is world-renowned for this kind of a personal, caring education. She wrote and she said, but let us say then, because she was answering that kind of a thing that the school cannot be the home. So suppose the home failed the children.
School
now they come to school. What the school should do? Just blame the home and leave them? You can't do that, you know, because then that child becomes a challenge of the society, you know. So I think we have a lot of work to do, and it may sound like a big uphill battle, but I'm saying that it will be far cheaper and it will be far less in the long run than to sit by and to see our children waste away themselves in the long run. And that's the point, really.
Now, we could go on and on talking about education.
Absolutely.
But let's take a look at the economy of Anguilla.
Yes.
Mr. Vanterpool, what are your honest feelings about the current economic condition of Anguilla?
Well, that's a broad question, but what I would say is that looking at the economic position, I would like to look at it perhaps over a period of time, say from Hurricane Irma and the term of the previous term of the current administration, you know, in between 2015 and 2020, when we were hit with the Hurricane Irma, and then later on in COVID, that sort of bridged two administrations. We know how things were then very challenging. In fact, there were challenges economically before Hurricane Irma, and then the Hurricane Irma came and wiped things out, and the COVID likewise. And we end up with zero in the term of the new term of the previous administration, the APM. What the APM was able to do, in my view, is nothing short of miraculous, because now they would have entered with $0. In fact, if I remember,
Minus zero.
Yeah, minus zero.
You got that right.
Yeah,
Lots of
Good
minus.
point, Harold.
and the hands tied behind the back and underwater. I mean, I
Underwater.
think the story bears repeating, because I would have heard certain pronouncements around to say, well, as if the APM shouldn't say anything now because they should have done it when they were in office and that kind of thing. I think that was only petty talk, but still, you have to remind people that, I mean, this was the situation. They were able to do a number of things creatively, including hold the nose and implement GST and really curtail it and really tailor it to something that was more palatable.
Right.
And then the bubble concept that opened up the place, even with the challenges of COVID, and they had to rework the AI. Look at AI.
That's what make them alive now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the airport, the two things they were against.
You know, the airport, they were able to do that direct flight to Miami. You know, so many broad and national issues. That's why when I recall some debate in the House by the present government when they were in opposition talking about Anguilla is doing well, but the people are not. You know, that is confusing. You know,
Very much so.
and that is how I always like to look at the reality of things beyond politics and through the eyes of, if I have to sit down and discuss these things with my students, I always look at everything through what will I tell a student. There's the students who ask me, by and large, to stand for office. You know, I was approached, you know, by APM and Dr. Webster and what have you. But all along, when we would talk and have these conversations, a lot on the economy, they said, Mr. Manapool, why you wouldn't run? You know, you understand what we are going through. You understand.
Exactly.
And I have to go back and be able, and lose our draw. I have to be able to tell children the truth. And that is what colors and governs my movement and my conversation. And I can't embarrass myself in the eyes of the children. So you see, when all of these things came into being now, the state of the economy now, you know, if it is not being joked away just by for whatever reason, you don't want to continue this, you want to pause this, you want to do this, you want to assess, you know, then it could be, you know, it could be strong. In fact, I think in terms of money and reserves and what have you, it is still fairly strong in my view, but money could finish, you know, with bad decisions, you know, with the lack of know-how, with the lack of confidence in leadership, and so on. You know, things could go. I heard somebody say just the other day, you know, since it was said that this GST, the millions on the reserves, would have been gained at the backs of suffering people, you know, something like that was said. Then this administration should just give back their millions the 300 million or whatever and just start over, you know.
Right. Everybody got to buy a house and stuff.
That alone,
That's a point taken.
that alone will put the economy in a very good situation there for you to start from again. So we have to be careful to narrow the gap, I say, between fun and fundamental thinking. You know, sometimes we just talk things for entertainment and we figure we could get the people riled up or whatever. But then there are real issues at hand. And so the short answer to the question is, I think the economy is still good, but it could get bad fast if things are not handled.
Okay, so you're saying then that we haven't lost the momentum economically. When you look back at when you compare it to previous decades.
Yeah, no. Well, we had a kind of lift in the economy between 2020 and 25 that you know, people have said that they have never seen no time before. And if I were to give an assessment of that, I'll have to say that it has slowed down now, even from 2020, 2025 to now. You know, I wouldn't bother to go any further back than that, because the answer to that, just that question there, is why. Because it isn't that we really had the kinds of challenges that the APM would have seen coming in, you know. So then that is why I say, yeah, we might be still in a good place in terms of what we have, in terms of paying down the debt, in terms of reserves. But it could be, we could lose things quickly if we are not progressive, if we are not creative. And that is just it. You know, I don't know that I'm definitely not seeing the kind of leadership and the kind of appetite for risk and to go and get things done like the APM did between 2020 and 2025.
You use a word there just now, progress. Would you say here that we have, instead of progress, that we have regress? As a country, on a whole.
Which period, Cello? Which period you talking about?
I don't know. We'll see. You know, it may be too early to tell, but definitely the spark that could perhaps be a style of leadership, you know. But in terms of the numbers will tell. I heard somewhere that we were the fastest growing small island, small state economy during the time, and then those figures have dwindled now to just a fraction of where they were. So if you're using that as a marker, well, certainly. And Brother Harold asked to give the context of the period. So from there, you could really check that. But I am a firm believer in giving everybody a fair shot. Whatever it is, it will come to light. However it will go. And where my disappointment comes most of the time is when people try to change a narrative that the facts are there, but you're still trying to say that it is something else. Right. You know, that is a problem to me. You know, if somebody do something and it's good, then somebody did something and it's good. You know, exactly. And we are living, if it is good, we are living the benefit of that as we go along. And then if we hit a challenge, we hit a snag. Come, let's put our heads together, see how we can move along. Because democracy in itself is messy and it is a long road. And the more mature civilizations get it right by embracing what has gone before, what we have now, and heading forward. We don't reach anywhere by tearing down one another, tearing down efforts, distracting, deceiving, none of that works, and it takes us longer to reach where we could effectively reach if we were to be sensible about it, and that is it. Yeah.
Well said, Mr. Vanderpool. Well said. Are we relying too heavily on tourism as an economy?
Well, you see the movements in the world. We are all again. When you check the APM's platform, we're talking about system-wide education reform. We're talking about food security. We're talking about minimum wage and livable wage, revisits and implementations. We were talking about the various economic drivers, foreign direct investment away from direct like tourism as such, but in health and so on. So what is happening now? We see that tourism is going to be the main driver for the long haul. But I bring it back to education and how we treating our children and our young people. Entrepreneurship is a big thing, and business startups, the creativity for our creatives, for our artists, for our poets, for, when people say, now, what do we have? We got to find things for people to do when they come here, the tourists come. I have seen tourists here just reveling in the sun and getting something good to eat, maybe and just soaking in the quiet. There are some things that other jurisdictions just can't have, and that we have here as a natural, as just our natural availability, our people, and so on. So I don't know if we rely too heavily on it, because we have the diversification of the AI that has just become a thing that we also have to, whatever we have, because we don't have oil and we don't have sugar.
Right.
So we have to, but whatever we have to take care of it. And that, right, I believe is my message throughout. Whatever we do, if we have AI, we have to make sure we take care of it. We can't just go and just deal with AI money till it's finished.
That's what happened.
This maturity in leadership is what. If we have the tourists, how are we preparing our youngsters to participate in an economy driven by tourism? Are our children confident when they meet people? Do they look them in the eye, give a firm handshake, and could tell them a little bit about Anguilla's history? How are we leading and guiding in these areas is my main concern. So that whatever it is, it could be tourism, it could be something come up tomorrow, it could be light industries. We've had decades ago, we've had conversations about light industries coming here, matches and toilet paper and paper towel and things, and long before we're talking about renewable energy things and so on. That's the buzzword now. So there are things that can, but again, we have to hear from leaders, not only government leaders alone, but people who are in the private sector, people like yourselves who would have had light years of experience, Vanya from traveling abroad, Harold from such a broad experience over politics and in his field and construction. And we could benefit from think tanks, people coming together and saying, well, how is the best way to do this? Divide, strip politics away from it, and just let's say thing. But to me, we still too caught up in that kind of a party bickering. So
yeah, I heard you. If I might just interject here, really. I heard you earlier. You spoke about leadership,
Yes.
So I am known on the program as the instigator / agitator.
Okay.
So do you think leadership in Anguilla has become reactive instead of visionary?
Well, I have to ask you, like Brother Harold asked you, over what period?
I agree.
We have had shades of both, and you know, in my faith tradition, God gives us the leaders that we need for the time. Would you imagine a different leader, for example, than Dr. Webster between 2020 and 2025? And you know, that would have been, that to me, that would have been a lot of bold things had to happen. I mean, some may say, well, and it cost him the election or whatever. But I wrote in Broken Cards years ago, over 10 years ago now, as I said earlier. Leaders can't look at preserving another win at the polls, and then
unfortunately,
and then have that as the reason why you don't do something or you do something. If you're leading and you know that you have the passion and you have the conviction that this is the thing to do for now, for my country and for my people, you got to go ahead and do it. And you may lose the next time at the polls, but that is a small price to pay if the thing indeed turn out to be the right thing. You know, you can't tiptoe around what you know is good, talking about why the people are gonna vote me out. I can't do this here and I can't do this there. No, I got to keep the people happy. That is not really, as the mantra goes in this administration, that's not really putting people first. You know, putting people first a lot of the times mean to do things that are unpopular with the same people, because it calls into action, as you said, visionary leadership. Leaders have to see beyond the people. That is how they become leaders, you know. And so these are the things that we must consider as we go along. We can't play, because remember, the election cycle is 5 years, but we're talking about setting up things or destroying things that could have ramifications and negative effects for 15, 20, 25 years to generations still unborn. So we have to take the whole thing into consideration. Hence, I was saying earlier, we got to be able to narrow the gap between what is fun and what is fundamental for us. You know, a lot of times we get caught up in a lot of entertainment and foolishness, and we forget the big picture of where Anguilla should be heading. You know.
Let me ask you a question, Alex. Did we see a kind of like a spike in our tourism was over a year or two? What's your in your opinion, what do you think motivated that spike through the last couple of years?
I wondered the same thing. More tangibly, we saw the direct flights between Miami, that and the direct flights from Miami to here. The whole idea of the international airport that came with a lot of criticism again. The refurbishment of the seaport down at I mean, I have personal testimonials with that Plum Point Ferry Terminal, because I had a colleague in here to do some piano work on some pianos here, and before his first visit to Anguilla, and before he could get off the boat good, he was taking pictures of the Plum Point Ferry Terminal, and by the time he got out to the car, he said, you know, brother, I done send these back to St. Lucia and tell St. Lucia, and tell his partners there, man, St. Lucia making joke, look what Anguilla got, you know. so these yeah.
It is commendable. The achievement is very commendable.
Yeah.
And you know,
so those things is also people had in a more scientific sort of conversation to talk about the pent-up traveler during COVID, what a traumatic experience that was, and how when people got their masks off and they were free to roam, how people, found these places. But again, if the infrastructure wasn't in place,
Right. Couldn't happen.
to move, it still couldn't happen. So there's how.
And what's so disheartening is that the present government administration put up a big fight against both of those ports being developed. The airport, they put up a fight against the AI being moved to a proper management company. And these are the things that have them blooming now. That the only thing that they are actually producing and really working for Angola. It's the very same things.
Well,
I have a question for you. Go ahead.
No. What I'm going to say is that if it all goes back into the style of campaign or the style of politics that an organization is willing to advance, anything that the opposition does becomes an issue. My challenge with that, as I may have intimated earlier, is what do you tell the children? Because if you're doing it just as a gimmick to weaken or to distract or to deceive, who is to say that when you now actually get in, what is your sort of program there? When are you telling the truth? When are you not deceiving? So I take the whole leadership, the whole thing through the eyes of children. To me, if you have enough integrity to tell children the truth, you will lead by that same example, and it might be difficult. Truths are hard sometimes, but that is how if people know that you are bona fide, if people know that you are genuine, then they have no problem. And on the flip side of that is why a lot of young people are disengaged and are turned off by the entire political process, because they can't find any true north in a lot of the people who say that they are vying for office, So they figure, man, I ain't wrong with that because this person do this and that person do that. And they're just thrown out, And that is unfortunate, because a lot of young, capable people, and not so young too, we are missing that sort of a leadership talent, because people feel that they just don't want to bother with it. It's too much. In my own foray, there were those who told me, I love you too much to go into that, And then when we sit and we had a conversation, he said, well, look, who else is going to do it if I'm feeling as if, I got the opportunity, I got the call. We have tried everything else in the past. We are moving through. We could find somewhere to land on this issue of representative leadership in District 2, of education program for our children, alternative, effective, impactful, and really mind-blowing. So we move. And I thank God for the 308. I know there are much more now, but at that time it was 308 who I'm telling you, for giving me that space. And indeed, that is why I'm here with you, because had I not figured that was something to do. So, and I will lend my voice to what it is, and then God will do the rest in his time.
You said you're going to lend your voice. So I want you to continue there, because the young leaders of today who might want to be entering politics or even the public service, continue to give them some more advice as to, to encourage them.
I think Harold got a question, though, right?
Well, Salwa will ask the question. So I realize that Vanta was processing it. I think he's just about there now. So Vanta, you go ahead and respond to Salwa's question about what advice you would throw there to aspiring people in the public service.
Oh, yeah. Well, definitely. Well, to use myself as an example, first you have to have a passion. You have to have a platform. You know, you would hear any
Resilient.
cursory listening to any program or thing on TV, on YouTube, you will hear this person who say, well, I started as a community person. I graduated from school. Even if they didn't graduate, they come through some other means, but you have a passion for, say, helping the elderly. You have a passion for this economic endeavor. You have a passion for education, for getting people better, as in health. So walking through the infrastructure of your community that has always been broken down. You have that passion. And then you move on that. You stand for office. I always say, don't allow naysayers. Because I come back again to this part of political thing. It's often just part of political. You know, you could recall that when children get valedictorian in school and preschool, they got valedictorian in primary. Everybody applaud the young children. They go to the debate club and they win the Leeward Islands debate, and your hands up. The children are the greatest ever. And they're going to youth parliament and to student government and all. And they cheer them on. Oh, you are my leader. You are my... leave them, go take the next step and stand for office. And if that same child isn't on your team, they become public enemy number one.
That's true.
That shouldn't be, especially again in our small. So I would encourage you, find your platform, you find your strength, you pull. In my case, I pull on God. You know, and you don't leave anyone once you've prayed about it, once you have the conviction, once you say, I am going for you have to be able to explain yourself. That is why it comes at a time when, you know, you wouldn't feel for words then, because you know exactly what you're about. If you can't, I mean, everybody wouldn't be fluent alike, but you will at least know what you are about, and you'll be able to explain that. You'll be able to encourage others.
That's true. Just at that point, right? I remember when Diane Kentish Rogers came to Angola, when she just ran the crown, and the Miss Britain, particular person in Angola she related, said that she's gonna be the face of Angola, and after a couple of years she ran for election. They were like, the same person said, where she thinks she's going? Because the polish is on.
You want to go to certain things. In Angola, want to go to certain things. That's the problem.
Yeah, because the polish was with, you know, is the disagreement with that particular person. So like, where she thinks she's going? That's like a whole change. Not the face anymore.
Yes. And that is where you have to surmount that, because I feel that even where I am now, and I have been told that several people say that, well, you have been an inspiration, because to be able to move out of the classroom, not get involved in the style of, I always detest when people say, hey, no, that is politics. That's how politics. No, I say, no, that's how politics is, but politics is just a thing. You know, it is people who use the arena, not only the candidates, but those who are surrounding them, to operate in a way, to drag and to pull and to slander and and it doesn't have to be that, because one cool, calm conversation should be able to bring us back to our best selves, to know that, look here, if we are leading so that some young children in sixth form, in fifth form, in fourth form coming up will take over in 5 years, in 4 years, in 10 years, then we ask ourselves the question, how are we leading so that could happen in a way for integrity and for decency to prevail and continue? You know, I'll just say this. When we were doing the education transformation, we had an interview up in uh, Morris Vanderpool Primary. And a young lady got up there. She might have been in grade 4 or grade 5. And we were talking and asking the questions, gathering the information, and going at it really effectively and impactfully. And it must have been the last question. She put her hand up and she stood up very confidently, very calmly. She said, "Now, teacher, after all of this, because those children really give us what they think that a good education system should look like. They say, after all of this now, when are we going to see some change?" You hear that? You hear that? Yeah. And that stayed like a lump in my throat up to today.
Yeah.
Because that is the kind of,
Politics we deal with.
in a sense, genuineness that drives my service every day. Because I see it in the children I teach every day. Whether it is in Campus B, or it is here with the music, or in the church when we anywhere, those children will keep you sober, you know, and you don't have any appetite to talk stupidness if you got that kind of relationship and engagement with young people, because you want to be able to do right by them.
Definitely.
Wagner, I was trying to ask you a question for some time now. You claim all night you use this term being bright, but I want to see how you answer this one. Now, you contested the last general election, correct?
That would be correct.
And you contested the last general election against your neighbor, if I could remember correctly.
Yeah.
Right? Now, on a daily basis, I traverse the Sandy Hill area. And when I traverse the Sandy Hill area, I don't feel too well. I don't feel too well. Now, if you ran for election, and you ran for election with a mantra, putting people first. And
Me?
Mark, I warn you, if you're still going for political office going forward, your response will determine whether you'll have my support or not. I'll put the cards on the table, right?
Yes.
So you have the mantra putting people first, right? And
When you say you, who you mean? That what I want to.
That's I'm confused too.
well, it's a very broad, wide
He's speaking broad. He's
statement.
speaking
But
general.
I believe in this case, you could be me, right?
Okay.
Putting people first.
Because
If you-
I remember my mantra was yes to progress.
Yeah. But if you putting people first, and we will regard as the cleaning of sargassum on the beach as a low-hanging fruit. If you was the parliamentary representative for District 2, would you have ambition? Would you put people first by at least clean up the beach so that we have a best good night rest after a hard day?
Yes, is a short answer. And to even elaborate a little bit on it, I am aware that there is a sargassum machine in
Of
the
course.
public works, you know, so that it isn't a hard fix. Now, I would walk behind the science and say, well, when is a good time? Because we know it's seasonal. But I know that the Sandy Hill Beach right now has been inundated. And in fact, our island passed there just in front of me here 2 days ago. Yeah, to follow. And it is not only unsightly, but it is smelly. You know, and this is something that in the past you will know that took up a lot of the representatives' attention, So I know that she would know where to find it and she would know how to deal, because I saw, I believe at a rally, to really, in the same run up to the election, the pictures were shown of her knee deep in it, so I don't know what would be. Nobody's saying that she herself will have to do it, but
She could pilot a project.
yeah, it could. Things could happen. So I would agree with you. I would agree with you on that.
But
No, but very serious, in the area, there may be people that have health challenges like being asthmatic and so
Yes.
on.
Yes.
And if you merge it with the atmospheric conditions that very warm, very hot,
Yeah.
and then you look at the high cost of cooling through electricity, fossil fuel generated kilowatt hours. It must be very challenging for people in the vicinity. They may have to
Yes.
run air-conditioned units 24/7 to be
Yeah.
able to, comfort themselves and try to keep
Yeah.
themselves in a good way before they have challenges with health hazards that they will encounter.
I didn't
So-
make it to the town hall, but that would have been something that could have been raised there.
No, that really was not town hall. And it is a good point that you raised there. I think that it was a political sit-out, I will describe it as, because one, the AUF came there with their campaign shots on,
that's
and
crazy.
additionally, you have a very senior fellow there who said he's a chairperson and he would not allow free speech when it comes to the question and answer segment. As a matter of fact, the chairman in question threatened a very prominent constituent to ask the police to escort him out when he asked a particular question. And I know for sure that even leading up to the last general election, when I will have my concerns about a matter regarding national interest, and that is access in the valley vicinity between the two commercial banks. And I was immediately shut down. So it seemed to me that the representative had some interest based on her general conduct. So I would not tolerate a reoccurrence of such a behavior. So I abandoned the meeting prematurely, and then a number of people followed because the atmosphere was, in my view, was hostile and unacceptable. So it was very unfortunate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And I
was
just want to put it on the record
Right.
that they were out there, but the general purpose of the meeting was defeated.
Was
The
not
general conduct / misconduct of that so-called chairperson.
Yeah, Mr.
in
Van
my
Poel.
view.
Well, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier about the opportunities that we have as leaders and prospective leaders, and then how we end up missing these opportunities to really advance causes and to be the bigger people in the eyes of future leaders.
Let me ask you a question, right? The premier was this is her third term, I think, in government, right? And there was a study out quite a couple years back that District 2 seems to be one of the poorest villages in all the districts.
Yeah.
What does that say to you about a leader that's had the opportunity to do something 3 times now?
Well, I believe that would speak for itself. What I would say is that what I alluded to earlier, anybody going into elective politics has to have uh, a mission, a platform,
Yeah.
a
Goal in mind.
serious position on whatever it is. You know, mine happened to be the well-being and the welfare of young people. Through that comes nation building. Through it comes sustainable development. Through it comes a stable, local, well qualified labor force. All sorts of things shoot away from that. And when I came up with that, I wasn't thinking about politics. That was in 1989 when I started the Marlin School of Music. I said that the mantra is to develop youth through music education. Music wasn't even the main thing because, as you all know, everybody can learn an
Exactly.
instrument proficiently to say that make a living out of it. But through the study, you could have, you could change lives. You could really make a heavy impact on what is happening. That is far different, and so I was able to do things like the boys' choir when at a time when the school couldn't get boys to join the choir. You know, I was able to start be a part of the band development, the concert band, which was all after school because there was no place on the timetable for it. Everybody talking about no politics. Then the jazz band, and then the chorale at church, and all the different things that I would have been able, but looking hard and continuously at how we can speak into the lives of youngsters. And so that is why next year we are looking to have a boys choir reunion. These are big these are big men now. People like the clerk of the house, Joash Proctor, was part of the choir, you know. Rudy Webster, your nephew, Van and Varney, and these are the men that were boys then that we
Create
try
that.
to
Yeah.
and,
It molds you.
and nothing at all about no politics, you know. Even the transformation report, nothing about politics. If you had to really, so you read the force group, you know, when you look at the makeup, people just went hard at that. The Honorable Joseph Vanterpool was part of the education transformation team. You know, I spoke with him just recently. And I didn't even, I think he knew where I was going with it, but we didn't even think, because I was wondering to myself, well, how is it that you put so much work into this and it come like you ain't even
Sure.
helping it to come to, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's not his ministry, of course, and I don't know. I just mentioned it to say that of the involvement across the board and so on. And so I say that to say, you know, yes, this data came up in 2007, and they were doing the poverty assessment, and it happened. A leader, a representative could take that in very different directions. They could say, well, this doesn't sound good. Let me see what I could do about this.
Exactly.
Advance my own survey. Say, well, what thing? Talk to people. Say, but how this come? Go back to the originators of that study. Say, but how that come here? What are you comparing it to? How did this thing? What are the
See
opportunities?
what's lacking. See what's lacking.
No, yeah. So but we didn't hear anything of that once the study was that we heard a clap back on it in the house once it was mentioned, you know, and kind of like to put that to rest. But it's different ways that different people would deal with stuff.
It
But
hasn't been
I
addressed.
think that it has to do with the original conviction of the individual, of the leader. What are you what are you standing for? What are you going towards? What are you walking towards, and so on? And then that will eventually, you know, it will the water will clear. and people will see what you are about, whether it is little or whether it's a lot. That's it.
Let me ask you, Bill Lennox, as a musician and musical director, how has music shaped your understanding of people and society?
Yeah, well, I think it is. I mean, apart from my own upbringing, as my family background, as everybody knows by now, I would have lost my dad when I was 6 years old. So I would have been in the nurture and care of my mom, who when she passed, I was making 50. So that was a good long run. And she really ruled the roost with a good hard iron fist, and then with the help of and the nurture of my siblings and so on. But then music was very instrumental, no pun intended, in my life from a very, very early age, because music was in the home and all around. My father was a musician, in addition to being an educator, and many of my siblings played and sang and so on. And I really attribute my outlook, as you ask, to my understanding, my appreciation, and the ability to play and to conduct and to interact with people through music. Because what are some of the attributes of the music and the music experience? It is appreciation for others. It is camaraderie. It is for understanding another's point of view. It is for leading, conducting, orchestrating, but sharing more than anything else. And so it's a good question, because all of these attributes come to bear in teaching, not only teaching of music, in arranging various activities and so on, and in leadership, So it is a very, and as an artist, generally, artists seem to really look at things and think about things in a different, more humane, for the want of a better word, less hard, fast win-lose kind of a arrangement. You want to be able to compromise. You want to be able to perform still, because you have to have a position. We're not saying we are not issue neutral, and that is why I thought it would be a good thing to stand for office, and to stand for office here in District 2 force. I mean, a lot of people ask, well, why you didn't run at large? But there's an understanding there too that comes out of a study in music education, that when you want to play a piece and you find a difficult passage in the piece, you practice the piece and you play it.
Right.
You don't run from it if it is a calypso and the words ain't fitting with the thing. You make the words fit. You either drag out the word longer, or you chop it out or something, and what we were saying is that we have this issue, and I was born here, right here in the family house here. I wasn't born in no hospital and come up out the valley and this and that. And I felt, and I have the business here. I tell the children when they come, this was my bedroom. I felt it would have been a kind of a stretch to, you have a better chance at large. You're doing it just like you're up and down running to win an election. No, I figured that the people who nurtured me, the community that nurtured me, back in the day, a lot of these younger people would not know that now. But people who have already passed on, some who are advanced in age. And because that is how the communities were then, and I say, look, I have gotten to a stage where I can give back now, and I want to give my people solely the opportunity to vote for Lennox Vanterpool because I know I had a platform, I know I had a passion, I know what I stood for, and I was able. I don't know if convincingly enough, but the people of District 2 understood where I was. They made a different choice for that time.
We love entertainment, man.
It was a seasoned candidate I was up against, and that is why we are proud of the performance, and we'll see where it goes from there. But I wanted to do everything I wanted. I want to do principled, and whatever the results are after that, then we are happy because as I told my team, as we spoke about things, as we check the list, as we do things, I say we want to be able to hold our head high the day after the election, whatever the result. And I think we accomplished that, and we are happy for it. Yeah.
I like what you said earlier when we were speaking about being a musician and a musical director. I like when you say that music, in essence, can unite people across political and social divisions.
Yes.
I like how you put that across there earlier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bob Marley did that.
Yeah. It's still the iconic shake hand between Seaga and Manley.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Vanterpool, looking back though, what has been your proudest accomplishments, sorry, your proudest accomplishment? Looking back, what have been your proudest accomplishment?
But that's a difficult question to say the proudest, but I would want to say that definitely my proudest moment would be my wedding day and the birth of my son, the birth of our son, Kamal, to know that the reality of love as the greatest gift. You remember Stevie Wonder sung a song there that I never thought true love could be, making one as lovely as, well, he said, isn't she lovely, made of love, If we are not grounded in love, if you are not grounded in love, the love of God first and the love for our fellow men, the union, the marriage, the birth of children. Mark you, a lot of what I have accomplished started way back before we were married. It started, in my observation of things going awry with other people's children, and I say that to not to bring home a broader point. When I used to be at offices and knocking on doors and talking about the ways that I realized that we are doing things not in the best interest of children. People sitting in these offices that are charged with the leadership and administration of the issue and that could do something about it would tell me, look at my stop harassing myself and look at my own child. You know, I got that as a response when you bring in things. Nobody disagreed with the positions I was taking. You know, hardly anybody, nobody never really disagreed openly that I could say. Everybody agreed with the observations, with the positions that I was taking, but just without any kind of appetite to make any change. You know, so my accomplishment, if you could call it that, was to continue to chart a course with family and to lead and to guide, to have an opportunity, not perfect, but to have an opportunity to have that home circle and that kind of rock from which I could now launch and give of myself to District 2, give of myself to the Los Andes community, give of myself to Anguilla through the schools and through music landscape across the island, whether it is in the hotel or in the church or anywhere. You have to be drawing that encouragement and that strength from somewhere. And my family is the thing that keeps me going. And that is it.
Before you answer this last question that I have, what legacy would you like to leave behind? I gotta ask you about something that's you would hear a lot. The chatter seems to be getting louder.
Mhm.
This infamous mansion in
Over the
in the
hilltop.
it would be very remiss of me if I don't pose that question to you, really, because
Mhm.
no information brings misinformation and speculation. We are hearing all sort of things surrounding this mansion.
Yeah.
We are even hearing that it's already bought.
Yes.
We are hearing that it would be an embassy. We're hearing so many things about this mansion, and you claim that your mantra would be for the people. We put people first. But why is it that we still don't understand what is about this mansion? I mean, we have more priorities at home. We need to fix our home here before we address what is really going on really about this house. Uh, can you give me some sort of feedback or something that talk to me a little bit there, Mr. Vanderpool.
It's not enough.
I can't give you any more information than you already know, because as
just your
said,
opinion, though. What you think about it?
As you said, I think that is in short, I think that is a bad decision if the government will go through that, because as I said earlier, I go through the eyes and the ears and the heart of our children and our young people, and I just explained at length of the implementation of an education paper that we have there that can revolutionize the way that children learn. It get them more confident, it get them reading, it get them more ready for the world of work, it connects learning to life, all of these things. Why I can't understand why this initiative would get in front of the education transformation report. So even if you want to say that is something down the road, but I will go a little further since you asked me the question. to say that we need to have this because every other oil and oil dependent territory has it. Well,
Follow fast on.
well, every other territory is looking for a more fit for purpose education system. How are you following that? You know, every other territory has some sort of a GST thing for years, some sort of GST regime, and you were fully against that. You know, so that doesn't really hold anything. What I would say further, and perhaps finally to that, is I think the opportunity, or even the idea that you would want to make this purchase may put you in another frame of mind to say, what can the UK do to help Anguilla as an administering power to cover or to meet the needs that this house will meet? So if it is embassy services, let's have a mature conversation with the UK. What embassy services are lacking?
We do represent ourselves.
That we could then meet without the expense of the house. We could ask what are some reason about children going abroad to study. Well, which brings me back to my main point. How are we preparing our children to go abroad to study in the first place? How many of them are going to the UK? How many of them are ready to take on post-secondary study? The point I'm making is that so many questions and answers need to be explored before we reach to this. And I think that I not only that, I think that's a bad idea. I think the administration thinks that's a bad idea themselves.
I think so too.
Because every time out, you hear some other question, some other reason why we should have this.
They don't have a reason.
It came out, and then like the reasons followed after.
It's a
You know, and that is always a good indicator that either it wasn't well thought out or that we are not hearing the real reason why something like this should obtain.
Yep.
So that is my view on that.
Yes, I agree.
But to add to that, Cantor, the big question the people of Anguilla is asking, what will this cost the taxpayers of Anguilla or the people of Anguilla?
Yes.
What's the opportunity cost
Right.
of this house?
I was just
There's
about
so
to say that
much
question.
needs here. So why are we looking at a foreign territory to invest when we could invest in our people, in particular, young people?
Well, that was my first. Well, that was my first
Then
point.
you hear another supplementary 9.5 million. So it looked like it's going up to the 30 million. I don't know.
I wonder who would answer. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. So
We
more
don't know.
questions. More questions.
More
than
questions
answers.
and answers.
That is so true. Mr. Vanterpool, we are just about coming down to the end of a very informative program here this evening.
You're coming, my age.
I got a question for you, but on there. So.
What does true leadership mean to you?
Sorry.
What does true leadership mean to you?
Yes, well, a true leader, as I believe I would have intimated over the night, a true leader would have to be, first of all, would have to be visionary, have to be sensitive to the needs of the people that he or she leads. It would have to be able to be courageous so that if the decisions made would be somewhat difficult for the led, those people that the leader is leading, to really accept. You want to be able to talk to people, so you have to be approachable. You have to be warm. You have to be convincing. You want to be able. A true leader gets a lot of a teacher. The profession of a teacher, rightly experienced, is really a textbook example of what a teacher is, because children, even though they become adults, they still remain learning, and we, even as leaders, still remain learners as well. You must remain teachable, and that is another quality of a leader. So you want to be able to be all these things, and then to be nimble enough as well to pivot according to the situations on the ground. Who saw, for example, when the APM came in, when the campaign on no GST, and then they come in and they realize that was already set up for them. What do you do? Some other example like that, because it wouldn't be always that you find yourself with a load of money in our account, reserves, getting a whole set of money every month. But even in that, sometimes that is more challenging than having zero. So all of these attributes, all of these characteristics, and then you must be able to be truth telling, because no matter what the situation is or how difficult it is for people to accept it, they are always going to appreciate you if you tell the truth.
That's right.
Another key attribute, Vanessa,
People
is
are stingy with the truth.
having the ability to not only bring people together, but also to maintain and build on those people that they bring together.
Absolutely.
The problem we got with leaders, they are seasonal. So in other words, during the campaign period, they have the ability to bring people together. But post-campaign into administrative governance period, they don't have the ability to keep people together. And that's a poor attribute that the so-called leaders we have today have established amongst themselves.
Stay with the microphone, Harold. As far as current affairs is concerned, anything that you have got for us?
Well, I believe we are practically worn out, Mr. Sello. But one thing of interest, of which I do believe that we should be aware of, and that is what energizes we the people with our operation. And the rumors that I have been hearing in recent times have me very concerned. Specifically, I am talking about the Anguilla Electricity Company, whereby even though we vote to be the leading energy suppliers in the region, the Caribbean, it seems as if we are falling way behind that mark. Because as we speak, we don't have no definitive answer to so many questions regarding that entity as it relates to the forward movement of the generation of kilowatt hours at a more affordable rate. Because as we know, we have inherited some very serious challenges with escalation of the price of fuel in recent times. And what an insult to injury that as this very bad situation exists, there are those consumers who can afford or going towards the Renewable Energy Initiative. Now, what this will, in essence, do to us consumers who could ill afford such an option, that quite rightly it would make us pay more on our kilowatt hours as time progress. I also learned in recent times that there is a major consumer that has indicated that they will come off of the grid by mid next month. And this does not make it better for us. It tells us, in essence, that AgNeg is dying a slow death. So I will urge the powers to be to move expeditiously and sensibly to try to see what could be done to be able to make this 35-year plus entity to survive the challenges that it is currently encountering. And that is just one of the many problems that I am hearing out there regarding this specific entity. So that's all I will say for now, because we are almost 3 hours into the ring. So, Salo, I will say no more, even though I have on my notes to say I
next week.
prefer
Next week.
to put that on the back burner for upcoming program. But
Well,
that
thank
within
you.
itself is a grave concern for us.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Mr. Ruwan. And that is current affairs, right? Nevertheless, we like to say thanks to all our guests who appeared on tonight's program. Mark, Romney, the chairperson for the Calypso subcommittee, representing the Calypsonians, His Majesty Baker Jr. And we want to say a big thank you to Mr. Lennox Vanterpool. It was really nice. I truly enjoyed the discourse here this evening, chit-chatting with you a bit. One thing I must say, though, and allow me to say this, really. You are a humble person. And in every conversation that we have, you always speak about the youths. Because the youths are the future. And as a teacher, you always speak about the youths. No child must be marginalized, you know. And you as an aspiring politician, I know you don't like when I say that sometimes, but it's a fact. You ran the last election, win or lose, you lost, but you could have held your head up high because you acquitted yourself quite handsomely. People now know who Lennox is about, what he's about, and as they say, you got to be in this for the long haul. You were able to get your feet wet somewhat. You would have gained some experience in your very first time. All I can say here this evening, Mr. Vanterpool, I wish you all the best in the future. Because we need people like you. That's why my question to you was, what does leadership mean to you? Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Thank you so much for giving of your time to sit with us here tonight. We certainly do appreciate that very much. On behalf of Mr. Vanya Harrigan, the cool one, the voice or the voiceless, Mr. Harold Ruwan. I am the agitator or the instigator, whichever one, saying, have yourselves a pleasant weekend. It's a long one because Monday is a holiday. And you gentlemen, happy Father's Day when it comes tomorrow.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Again,
Thank you very much.
thank
Yes,
you
and
for
same to you
being
all.
here. Good night.
Good night.
In your face. In your face. What may not like you. In your face, in your face, in your face, in your face. In your face, Island vibes, we bring it through to light night. Turn up the sound, let the people unite. From the heart of PF, we speaking it clear. Real talk, real change in your face, we in your face. We say bold, no delay. Truth and vibes every Saturday. Voices rise, let the whole world hear. We bring the fire in your face, right here. In your face, 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 in your face. We talking life, we talking change, we talk solutions. From the street to leaders, sparking revolution. No filter, no fear, just real conversation. Building up the through, uplift the nation. Ideas flow like the ocean tide. Different views, but we stand with pride. From young to old.